is Breakfast Daily on City TV. Thank you so much for spending your first day of October with us. We're going to start with a news review, starting with the Daily Graphic. So Daily Graphic says, death traps on Ofanko in Sawam Highway. Drivers create 74 illegal U-turns. That story is on page 3. President returns home. I'm happy that he's coming home safely to be with us after that story that we heard about his jet.
The information minister said he came in, I think, South African airline. I don't know. Me, I think strongly. The information minister says that, you know, the president has no plans of buying a new presidential jet, but I think he should.
I don't think so. I don't think we can afford that luxury right now.
In 2014, there was an issue with the plane. 2015, there was an issue with the plane. And now there's an issue with the plane again. It shouldn't get to a point where our presidents may lose their
They won't lose their lives. I mean, God is good. Anyway. Bill on election of MMDCE submitted to Parliament. That story is on page 18. But of course, I mean, you have rich friends. They can donate a jet to the president. I think this is a call, especially our Niger brothers that we're celebrating today. They can dash us a jet. A
presidential jet.
Yeah. I mean, Baby Jet is there. He can do something.
Ghana beyond age.
I got a message that Baby Jet is actually hiring. So I'll share with you. Magdan CEO adjudged Marketing Man 2017. That story is on page 81 of the Daily Graphic. What do you have in Ghanaian Times?
Yes, let's take a look at the Ghanaian Times. It says here that non-implementation of Rent Act. Government loses 120 billion Ghana cedis annually. And of course, you can see the sector minister, Samuel Atachia, on the front page, Minister for Works and Housing. Don't trust NDC with free SHS policy. President admonishes Ghanaians. Now, this coming shortly after former President John Dramani Mahama says that when he comes into office, not if, when he comes into office, he says he would review the free SHS policy. So that's also something worth looking at. Magdan adjudged Marketing Man of the Year. The full story is on page 23 this morning. And also, creation of new regions, not tribal. The information minister designate had this to say.
Now let's look at the Chronicle. Ghanaian pilots to land biggest plane at the Kotoka International Airport. That story is on pages 2 and 3 of the Chronicle. Mahama will collapse free SHS. That's coming from the president. We will match NPP boot for boot. That's coming from the former president Mahama. And Omanhin of Ekumfi spits fire over creation of new districts. That story is on pages 8 and 9 of the Chronicle.
Wow, solid. Now, the Finder newspaper says we'll fix Amidu's needs. His office is very dear to Ghanaians. It's coming from the president.
That's good.
Samira Baumia adjudged 2018 African Woman of Excellence. And page 8 has that full story. Theft of litter bins in Accra alarming. Wow. Why?
Yeah, like, why are you stealing bins?
Stealing bola.
And I like the initiative of, you know, I saw Umaru Sanda's name, you know, like promoting us being, you know, a man is spending 2 years or so in
for stealing
jail.
bins.
Yes.
It's sad.
It's crazy. Like, who steals a bin? How can you even carry this to your house?
They manage. It's
crazy.
Sad. Free SHS Free SHS Comfort Lord's government, and page 5 of the Finder has the full report on that particular story.
Okay, now let's take a look at the Gold Street business. Star Times deal may force media houses to consolidate. That's coming from Sam George. That's alarming.
Yes, so according to him, I really did not understand his argument on this particular one. I think now he's been a bit excessive since Giba more or less has come out to say that, you know, we more or less appreciate the way things are going. So Giba seems okay from their posture. But Sam George is saying that media houses may consolidate because there will be a struggle, or people will be scrambling for the channels that would be available. There will be about 100 channels.
Really
people will be scrambling for it. So because of that, some media houses may be forced to consolidate. But I didn't really appreciate the argument because as of now, we have about 40. So why is it that if we increase it to 100, it's now that people are coming to scramble for China. I don't know. I wasn't really getting this, but I think you should come again on that one.
Okay. And legislation for onshore exploration, crucial. That's coming from an expert, this Dr. Kwame Amoako, who is the General Manager for Sustainability Division, Ghana National Petroleum Corporation. That story is on page 2. And finally, consumer confidence drops 4th consecutive time in August 2018. And why am I not surprised?
Sad.
That story is on page 4.
Now, the Daily Heritage newspaper says Unibank versus Bank of Ghana. You can see the respective lawyers. Chachu Chikata is a lawyer for Unibank and Integrated Properties. And, of course, Frank Davis is a lawyer for the Bank of Ghana. Page 3 has the full story. Bank of Ghana engaging in forum shopping. Chachu tells court. Well, interesting. This is coming shortly after Bank of Ghana says, the case should rather be at the commercial jurisdiction court and not the general jurisdiction court. Forestry Commission to pitch camp in Etiwa Forest. It's a sad picture of some illegal miners that have been arrested, or some alleged illegal miners that have been arrested. And Mahama commends Poku Asoya for retaining seat in the Central Region. Page 2 of the Daily Graphic this morning has the full details. We know former President Mahama has started his campaign, and recently he was in the Northern Region, and we'll be talking about that also shortly in the course of the program.
Yes, now let's take a look at the new crusading guide, NDC secret agenda against free SHS uncovered. That story is on pages 3, 4, and 10. NDC executives fight over backbin T-shirts. And Kwame Sifakai donates incubators to Brona-Hafo hospitals, and McDan to establish 20 more companies as he scoops Marketing Man of the Year award.
Now, the Herald newspaper says Men's Gold Board chair finds SEC weird. Talkative Martin Amidu reveals his true colors. Chief of Staff, AG, and Deputy express frustration. So there are pictures here of Martin Amidu and the Attorney General of Ghana, Gloria Kufu. So the Herald has that particular report, or that's how the Herald puts it. Bank of Ghana dashes NPP financiers 1.2 billion in loan write-off. I think it's very arguable, and I don't know if Addison will respond to this. Explosive, illegal hiking of board allowances and other corrupt practices amongst board members, and MD of PMMC coming up. So the Herald might publish that particular story as they have it.
Okay, now let's take a look at the Daily Statesman. Economy in the right direction. That's coming from the president. That story is on page 2. And Ghanaians warned against Mahama's planned free SHS review. Yeah,
okay.
Let's take a look at some online stories.
Some online stories. Okay. Interesting stories here. Imani Africa to raise funds for Special Prosecutor's office. Wow. And amongst other stories
That's really
here.
Sad.
Yes. Another one says, ignore Mahama. He's always been against free SHS. Kojo Opon Nkrumah, the Minister for Information designate, also says this. And so that's amongst others we shall be discussing this morning on the news review. So we'll just introduce our guest.
Yes.
We are joined by Eric Amoako. He's a member of the NPP communications team. Good morning. Welcome to Breakfast Day, Eric.
Good morning. Thank you. How are you?
We're doing great. It's always good to have you here, by the way.
My pleasure. Looks like I'm coming here too much.
No,
So
you have
I
don't think our viewers.
The people love you.
They do?
You're a
Wow.
man of the people.
I'm flattered.
You're a man of the people. We're also joined by Ade Kuka. He is the Greater Accra Regional Chairman for the NDC. Good morning.
Good morning.
And congratulations once again.
Thank you very much.
How are you?
Good.
It's good to retain your seat.
Very refreshing.
And I think it's refreshing that both of you are wearing local garbs as well on
That's
Monday.
right. Yes. Your cool.
Please, it's an African tie.
Oh, okay.
So it's allowed.
So let's go straight to our first story.
You have to find it.
Okay, reading from the Finder newspaper says, we'll fix Amidu's needs. And I'm reading from page 8 of the Finder this morning. And the president had this to say. The story reads here that President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo has assured the office of the Special Prosecutor of the needed resources. Now, he told Ghanaians in the U.S. that efforts are being made to satisfy Martin Amidu to deliver on his mandate. His comments follow complaints made publicly by Martin Amidu regarding the lack of resources, non-cooperation of presidential appointees, amongst others. So I'll start with you, Adeko, on this particular story.
Let me say good morning to yourselves, my sister and my brother here, and your esteemed viewers. Martin Amidu, well, what else can we say? He says that he needs the resources to do the work. The Attorney General says that the Chief of Staff is working on it. I mean, if everybody knows Martin Amidu, you know, the man cannot keep his mouth shut.
Oh, but that's not nice.
No,
Be nice.
No, I'm being nice. I'm being nice. I mean, somebody said it's a talkative. I mean, over the weekend, I think it was said in your studios here or something. So I haven't said anything differently that somebody said over the weekend. And even so, what that we need to do is to resource him so that we start catching the people who may think that are embezzling state funds. That was why it was put there for, right? But other than that, what else can we say? The president says that sooner or later he's going to make sure that he's resourced so that he will do his job. I don't think we need to make a hue and cry about these things.
But 9 months after his appointment, he's still not been given the needed resources?
I mean, what kind of resources he's looking for? That's the question. He hasn't even told us the kind of resources he's looking for. I'm sure he's got a table and a chair.
Oh, but that's not enough. Let's be serious,
I'm
right?
serious.
This is a special prosecutor.
No, I'm coming.
This is a man who is going to put people who are, engaged in corrupt activities.
So he should have come to tell us the kind of resources he's looking for. He just made a blanket statement that had not been resourced. And then the Attorney General told him that he should keep quiet because they've discussed it and efforts are being made to... I don't want to attack government for not doing that. But here's a person, there are certain things that, you see, you don't even have to come to public. When you do that, you are putting the government on the back.
But respectfully, I think it was the public that kept complaining that we are not seeing him doing anything. Day in, day out, people are going to Yoko. So what's the essence of his office?
Is part of
his work.
Exactly. No, Yoko is a part of the institution.
Yes.
So if people are going to Yoko and Yoko is working, why do you have to put pressure on him? I mean, I believe that these things, there are certain matters that can be discussed within the corridors of government quietly and have it resolved.
You feel he shouldn't have mentioned this?
No, I mean, that's why.
This is 9 months in the making.
Somebody said he's talking too much. You know, the Attorney General came out and said, look, we are working on it. The President himself has come out and said, okay, we are going to resource you. See, but I believe that certain things can be done on a quiet. And then you give a deadline that if by what? Middle of next year, June or July, you are going to resign. Why don't you resign now? I mean, sometimes we just give people some popularity and then they keep holding the whole country to a ransom. You know, you're giving a deadline. Okay.
But you must agree that it will be frustrating. Right? Even the Auditor General came out to speak about the state of his office. Right? So it's not as though he's being ungrateful or he's just talking too much. He's sharing his concerns, which are genuine. If you expect him to work, you can appoint someone to do a job and you haven't given them the resources to work.
You see, if I want to go to political, I might go...
No, don't go political. I like where you are today.
And you are forcing me to go that way.
No.
I'm saying there are certain things that we could resolve them amicably within the corridors of government, right? And then if you find that they are just being difficult and frustrating you, maybe 9 months, I asked you a simple question. He hasn't even told us. As I sit here, I don't know what kind of resources he's looking for. I thought he said there's a need for some legislation.
A lie.
A lie. I mean, if that is what he's talking about, then government should fast track it. But if you're talking about resources, I want to know, are you talking about vehicles? Are you talking about cars, furniture, whatever it is? That has not been given to you. He hasn't said so. So unless we are able to know the kind of resources that he's talking about, then we will be in a better position to find out whether these things how much do they cost? The government cannot provide them, but he hasn't told us. So I'm at a loss. That's
so this is assuming that the government itself didn't know what he needed before they appointed him. He has to tell them what he needs.
No, I'm sure he has been given an office.
Yes.
He has been given a staff. Right, there's a deputy in place. Yeah, that's why I keep asking. The government probably know that you have to get an office. No, they give an office. You have to get a secretary. They give a secretary. I'm sure he has got some few computers. Come to that, he has got whatever it is. So, what other resources are left?
Do you feel government was too hasty in creation of this special prosecutor's office? Because if the special prosecutor himself is saying he's not well resourced, and it's been like 9 months down the line, so we're assuming that at least he's being paid a salary with state funds, you know. So we are paying him for work that he's not doing because he's not being resourced. That question
will leave us the realms of politics. You understand?
You're doing very good today.
I'm doing very good today. I don't want to go there because when this started, there's a hue and cry about whether there's a need for a state prosecutor. Because we've got the Attorney General there. When you go to the Attorney General Department, we've got prosecutors there. And it became a whole...
And we had Yoko too.
We had Yoko, we had Shrad and all those things.
FIC.
Then who would claim that our brothers, part of their political manifesto, decided that they were going to... So they had to do it. So if now they've done it, and the man is saying that he hasn't been resourced, I don't want to go political on that angle. All that I want to say is that I don't want to say that the government, whether it was ready or not before coming out with that, I want to say that these things might be resolved amicably within the corridors of... There's no need for us to come and sit here Monday morning. There are a lot of things that we can talk about. You understand? Then whether Amidu is being resourceful or is being resourced or whatever it is, Amidu can deal with government in chambers and have this result. Otherwise, like Saturday, one of your panelists here says a talkative. I believe Amidu is always, he wants attention. Amidu always
thank you very much. And I don't think so. I think if somebody shares their concerns, the best way to respond is not that he's a talkative or he wants attention. It could be a genuine concern.
Eric, sorry, on the same, I just want to throw the same thing at you, that whether or not the government was a bit hasty in appointment of a special prosecutor amongst others, because one may assume that, I mean, he's complaining he's not resourced. He's also complaining about government appointees not being forthcoming with information. When he asks for dockets, they don't come, amongst others. So we can reasonably assume that he's being paid for work he's not doing because he's not resourced.
Well, thank you very much. Good morning, my senior friend, and then to the two of you, and then, of course, to the viewers out there. I think we dealt with this issue a bit on site there, but the truth of the matter is that I have a different take. I mean, he has a right to express it in the way that he had. And, of course, the Minister, Attorney General, also came out to state that that is not the case, that there's actually conversations that are well far in advance to provide the things that he has requested for. And apart from that, when you say resources, I mean, he's been given a vehicle, he's been given staff, and a deputy has been appointed. The bill itself had gone to Parliament, it's passed, he was vetted, he's been given a new, I think it was a council, a governing council, and all of those. It takes a while. I mean, maybe you can argue that we could have expedited it, but these things go through processes, and because it's a new office, you would have to probably start almost everything from scratch. But the commitment of the president to set up this special prosecutor's office is there for everybody to see. I mean, and the conviction to do so, by virtue of the fact that we've been doing these things in a certain way for a very long time, and the issue of corruption is something that we feel that has bedeviled this country for such a long time, and it's become a canker. And if you like, the existing structures that we had has not been able to deal with it. You can have an argument about if we could have empowered them more or resourced them more and all of those things. But sometimes you need to be able to rejig the system to be able to get solutions. So as far as I'm concerned, the Special Prosecutor's Office of course, has come to stay. It's gone through Parliament. The agitations coming from the public, and even civil society and other people as to him going to basically do his job and find people, prosecute and everything, it's also justified. But by virtue of the sort of legal regime that we even have, I believe strongly, and this is something that's coming from one of my law lecturers, that it's better to have a system that goes through a proper procedure where there's rule of law for even 100 innocent people to be able to go be scot-free rather than jailing one innocent person basically being jailed for something that they haven't done. So as far as I'm concerned, once we've agreed that we want to abide by these things, I would urge that whilst it's imperative that we create a system where it becomes disincentive or it doesn't become, people are not motivated by the corrupt practices by virtue of the fact that there's a special prosecutor's office, it becomes almost a proactive and a reactive entity, because once you know that once you do these things, people have been prosecuted over a period, it becomes probably a deterrent. You understand? So for me, the ministry has also come out to state categorically that this week, and we're already in the week, that they had actually already gone through processes to make those resources that he's asking for available to him.
Okay, but
again, the Attorney General made it clear, and I think that, I mean, especially coming from Martin Amidu, you have to follow the process. And she says that, listen, all of these things that you even have to procure have to go through our procurement practices and follow the procurement rules and regulations, right? So sometimes it might look as if that it's delayed, but the reality on the ground is that if it goes through all these processes, it might take a while. But I'm glad that we've already entered the week. Today is Monday. President has reiterated the fact that all the resources that he requires to do his job will be given to him. Then I think that probably we can stay further commentary until this week passes, and then we can find out that if well and truly what the Attorney General, the Deputy, and then the President is saying is something that is not the case.
Okay, now, Imani Ghana, they've said that they are going to raise Imani Africa.
They are not.
That
is not what I was on the panel, frankly. Yeah. And he says that there's some agency also who are interested in creating a platform for us to be able to have systems that would support our anti-corruption crusade, and that those people have actually contacted him that they are willing to support the Special Prosecutor's Office. So it's not Franklin Kujo Imani going to look for resources to support the Special Prosecutor's Office. But again, I mean, as far as I'm concerned, if it doesn't matter where the support comes from, if we're able to create a system that makes corruption unattractive and is able to resource an agency like that, so be it. But that is not, it's a totally deviation from exactly what he said, because I was on the set with him.
But should that have been the case, would you not find it embarrassing that you set up an office of SPO and then
going to Ford Foundation and the likes?
No, but that is what I'm saying. That I think that we're being, I don't know how to put it, we're being we're on the extreme side of things.
Really?
The Special Prosecutor's Office has been set up. An office has been provided. Some resources have been given. It's gone through a process. A governing council has been set up. Right? A deputy has been appointed.
So is that enough?
It's been vetted. Now, the point is that Martin Amidu says that there are certain things that still making his job difficult.
Like appointees also frustrating him.
No, but that is also another issue. But because the powers that he has, you understand, and has given him an opportunity to be able to ask for any document that he wants. No appointee can basically frustrate Martin Amidu. That's no way, because he can activate the legal framework. You are a lawyer, you know that. He can, if there's something that it needs to go to a special prosecutor or has been requested by the Attorney General, who actually superintends over the special prosecutor, you have absolutely no reason to hold it back. So for me, I think that particular issue of appointees not giving him the required support and everything is neither here nor there. You ask for it. Even Parliament has the right to subpoena people and ask for whatever. And if people are one way or the other holding on to information that they're meant to give, regardless of being NPP appointees or other officials, or everything, then the law has to take its course. I would back that every day, because then you are probably as bad as the person who actually perpetrated the act. And I don't think that anybody, I believe strongly that anybody would deliberately prevent Martin Amidu from doing his work. So for that, he has to activate the other opportunities that are available to him.
Okay. I think we'll go for a quick break now. When we return, we'll be talking about more pressing issues in the country recently, concerning the president saying, for instance, that, the former president says we'll review the free SHS when we come back.
The current president saying don't trust NDC.
Don't trust them.
But let us know your thoughts with the hashtag Breakfast Daily and the WhatsApp line.
0550-585-832.
We'll be right back.
Good evening, this is The Point of View. We're live on CCTV.
Tune in to The Point of View, Mondays and Wednesdays at 9 p.m. as Bernard Avlet takes the news further. He will bring the right guests, ask them the relevant questions, and get you the real insights you need on the big stories for the day.
We need taxes to run the economy. How do you do it sensibly and have the least pernicious effect in terms of cascading through the economy? And I think that is the thinking that is required. It's not a denial that we need taxes, and I think that is the difference in the two administrations.
The Point of View with Bernard Avlet, Monday and Wednesday nights, only on CCTV.
Welcome back to Breakfast Daily. Still the news review segment for today. We shall be reading your messages shortly, but remember that we are joined by Joseph Kwabena Koka. He is the NDC regional chairman, the Greater Accra regional chairman of the NDC, and of course, Amoako Twum is a member of the NPP communications team. Yes, now let's move right on to the next topic. I'm reading from the Ghanaian Times, and it says, don't trust NDC with free SHS policy. That's coming from our president. President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo has urged Ghanaians not to trust the National Democratic Congress with the free senior high school policy, saying that the policy is in the hands of NDC will mean its eventual collapse. So if the policy is in the hands of NDC, it will collapse. I am alarmed by the concept of review. This is because anytime our political opponents try anything of this sort, it leads to the policy in question into coma. We all remember the NHIS one-term premium payment review pledge. Not only did the review not materialize, but they also succeeded in degrading the policy. I honestly suspect reviewing the free SHS policy means collapsing it, but I doubt the Ghanaian people will allow this brilliant policy be collapsed by anyone. That's what he said. Interesting. So, Chairman, let's start with you. He said you guys are going to collapse it.
This is where I have to depart from being a nice guy to a very controversial guy.
Please go on.
The president is not listening. Nobody is saying that free SHS is a bad thing. Nobody. The NDC hasn't said that. Former President Mahama hasn't said that. We know the challenges that the system is going through. Yesterday, me and my schoolmates, we went to Adesada, we met. And when we were in school, we had 3 streams, A, B, and C. And stream A was 30, we made up of 30 students.
Wow.
B, 30 students, and C was also 30 students. The whole school population was about 600 at the time I was in college. The whole population in the school from 1 to upper 6, about 600 students. Today, Adesanya has got 4,000 students, right? And the resources at Adesanya, as I know of, the last time I went there was about 2 years ago, has not expanded. Only few dormitories had come. And when you go there, our prep room, where we used to have prep, is now being used as dormitories. So they don't have anywhere to have prep to study. The gym of the school is being used for the same purpose. Now, 4,000, they are going to have 2 streams, 2,000, 2,000. Now, it means that for the year round, right, the school's facility is going to be used. And you can imagine the wear and tear that this is going to suffer. Because normally, during the long-term vacations, repairs are made, schools are fumigated and all those kind of things. So here we are. I've given you one example of a school. 600 students is now 4,000 plus. So we are saying it's a laudable idea. We are facing challenges. Let all the stakeholders come on board and find a common way forward. Government started 450 million Ghana cedis on the first time. It's about 1 billion or so, and it's rising. How do we sustain it in the foreseeable future? If somebody comes to, because when President Mahama was making that statement, I read it. He never said he was going to review it and throw it away. People start putting, it's election year, so you are bound to have this kind of thing. Look, if we all, as we sat here, we're talking about Martina Medu. I said, look, let's discuss it internally and resolve the issue. This is Ghana. This is not Akufo-Addo's Ghana or Mahama's Ghana. It is Ghana. We're talking about the future of our children and grandchildren and great-great-grandchildren. The system is not is laudable. But if you are facing challenge, we have to put our heads together. But if you go to this stand and you go apolitical, then we come and sit here and we start trading. I did this, you did that, I did that, and we are not getting anywhere. What is that? What I've given you Adesanya. Now, what is the policy of expanding the infrastructure in Adesanya in the next 5 years? Because out of 4,000, the next year it's going to be maybe 5,000 or so, and that 1,000 will come. Are we expanding infrastructure, or we are going to use the same infrastructure that is in Adesanya? Well,
the education minister has answered that question by saying that in the next 6 years they would have provided all the infrastructure or facilities for from basic education all the way up.
So, if the big guys, the experts, the stakeholders are all saying this thing, what is wrong about President Mahama saying that when we come, we're going to sit down and review it, find a common for how to sustain it? Is that wrong for the president to go on this, political tangents?
Well, Mahama also said our MPP friends, they don't listen to advice. They think they know everything. There's a way you go about things, even if you want to review. And these are lives of children.
Yeah, that is what we are saying. That let us sit down and talk about these issues.
Yeah. So you don't also say
Professor Adayo in their stable. He has even come to say that we need to sit down and look at this, because probably certain things that we are paying Mr. A, Mr. B, we could use those monies to put them in certain. We have to have a dialogue. We have to, as a nation, we should stop this. Let me use the phantom. We are coming, we hate me. Kind of politics that we keep doing in this country. You understand? Let us dialogue. Let us sit down and find a way for. Because look, the next few years, our president is 74, 76 or whatever it is. He cannot live for the next 20 years. He cannot. It's impossible. Unless he goes to change the blood in him and then have a few facial things. No. He will go. But when you go, what have you left behind?
We will all go.
Exactly. That is why we need to ensure that we are brothers and sisters, we dialogue, and we find a common, and then we make sure that it's sustainable. But if you keep on going this tangent, and then somebody says, and you listen to what the president, we don't listen to what the person is saying. What can we do to spin it to make a political mileage? And then we go on a banter. So that we say double track or fast track or whatever it is. And I keep asking, the next year, is it going to be triple track?
Well, one of the things the former president said was that this policy was ill-timed. Now, what would have happened to the backlog of students and the students who would have ordinarily been unable to pay? They would have had to stay home.
You see, listen to me. We had other institutions in this country. We have the COVET, we have, you name them, technical colleges, private institutions. Look, we have a whole gamut of various systems that we're using. We are saying that in our own constitution, it says that if we are at a certain stage in our continuous existence in this country, we should be able to ensure that even up to the tertiary level, we are able to give free education, right? So what do? We have to put the systems in place. When we came and realized that there's going to be a need to ensure that everybody gets basic, at least, education to a certain level, we started by saying, let us build the day schools. Let us build 200 days secondary. Like we are sitting, like my Tiamidu complaining, he hasn't got all that he needs to use to. We are not able to complete all the school, but we started the process. It's a journey. You understand? It's a journey. So when you also come and you conduct that journey, you will not have 4,000 people going to Adesado and having a double track. Structures have been in place for us to be able to ensure that others who are not able to go to boarding schools are able to go to day schools in their proximity.
Sorry, so I just want to be sorry before we move on to Eric. You have addressed the issue of infrastructural challenge being the reason maybe for some people staying at home.
Exactly.
But the main issue was the financial challenge. How would they have gone to school otherwise?
As for the financial challenge, it has always been with us. That is why we must think out of the box. That is why we need to come together, Jojo, and find a common way forward. I believe it's about time we start the politicking, right, and be serious about how we are going to position this country in the foreseeable future. That is what we are talking about.
Thank you.
It's not a bad idea, but if you are facing challenges, let us listen to the other side. No one person has got a percentage of wisdom. Everyone, no one person. All of us should be able to come on board and make sure the system works.
Thank you.
Eric.
Free SHS. I think that the NDC, and in particular former President Mahama, has never really believed in the free SHS. And so I'm not surprised that he would say these things. But the truth of the matter is that you asked a very significant question. We've been running a system where 35% of all our graduates from either the basic level system actually truncate the education at that level. Now, we start talking about issues to do with our economy and development and all of this. There's absolutely no way we can derive the full potential of this country when our human resource, the human capital, are actually unlettered. You understand? So, as for the challenges, and I think that the president has admitted that with the implementation of any policy, and something as significant and as big as the free SHS, there will be initial challenges. And I think that even within the education sector, everybody has admitted that, yes, we do. But the question is that, and I'm passionate about this thing because it's not just an education issue. It is not just a political issue. It is not just a social mobility issue. It's also a moral issue for me. Because we live in a country, just a couple of days ago, we had a rebasing of our economy. And if you look at the various components that actually make up this economy, significant amount is coming from our rural areas in terms of agriculture and cocoa and all of those things. And if you do a math as to the kind of people who went to Adesado and all of those things, it's not the people from Abompe who have been doing the cocoa for the last 100 years. Now, as far as I'm
in my school,
let me
He's making
You see,
were you from there?
Their generations.
My mother was a
generations of families in this country who, under the watch of President Akufo-Addo, have had an opportunity to have one person go to secondary school for the very first time. You understand? So for me, this whole conversation around let's review, you see, initially when this conversation started, President Mahama was on record to have said that because it was deployed somewhere in Kenya and they had challenges, it wasn't a brilliant idea. He's made all sorts of commentary surrounding the free SHS. Guess what? A year and a half down the line when this whole conversation was hitting up, he went to Parliament, State of the Nation address, and said that the NDC were coming up with, his government was coming up with a certain caricature or a semblance of free SHS, which ended up being just a subsidy. They were paying 34 Ghana cedis, even a term, for kids who were going to the day schools, and they called it progressively free SHS. This version of free SHS, school fees, textbooks, 3 square meals, the tuition, exams fees, and all of these things are free. Now, you can sit here in the comfort of Accra and Kumasi and Takoradi and all of those things and say, oh, it's not significant. My question is that the people who are calling for the review, or even who are actually trying to discount the importance of this free SHS, let their kids stay at home. Let the ones, the marginalized, the poor ones, whose parents could not afford, go, and let's wait to make sure that the process and the system and everything is okay before the kids go to school. Would you agree to that? No. But this is a country that belongs to all of us. So as far as I'm concerned, this is the most significant thing that we can use to do an equitable distribution of the resources that we have as a people. So for me, the conviction of President is, and the commitment to it is there. We will do it, we will find solutions for it. The government has committed to make sure that the infrastructure development that is required to sustain the numbers, because the numbers has grown. And even as we speak, 9,000 more teachers have been employed.
8,000.
8,000 and over, I'm just rounding up, have been employed to support a double track system.
But Eric, so respectfully, he didn't say he would end it. He just said they'll review it.
Review it and then come back to do what? Listen. It's important to look at it from, I'll take the politics aside. I asked a very significant question. Whose child should stay at home until a point where everything is checklisted and is okay before we start the process? And I'm saying that I started school, and I'll use myself as an example. I started secondary school in Osino Secondary School. Form 1, there was not enough clarity. We sat under a tree. I got education. You see, this whole conversation around congestion, infrastructure and everything, when I hear it, I laugh. Every single person that has gone to secondary school in this country, boarding school, would have a cause to complain about the food, will have a cause to complain about the bed, the creaking beds, will have a cause to complain about the infestation of all of them. These are things that have been systemic for the education sector for a very long time. We need to fix it. But to even suggest that the free SHS, and by virtue of the fact that people are going to school a lot more, is a reason why we've had challenges. Well, I'll tell a story.
Please,
when I started, everybody that went to IPS, now UPSC, at the time was one block. It's early morning, but if you want to attend nature school, right, that's a tertiary institution. You have to cross the road and come into the bush. You understand? This is a reality on the ground. But go to IPS today and go and check an alumni of people who have come from that institution. So for me, let's deal with the issues. Let's deal with the challenges. Thank you very much, Eric. But the politics of it. It looks as if that.
No, Eric, that's your time.
It looks as if that the NDC do not want Ghanaians to
They have not said. They have not said. Please go on.
That is.
Eric, please. Don't go there.
If the Minister of Finance can pay his child's fees at Achimota, why should you allow the Minister of Finance children have free education. When before that, they were going to Morning Star, and they were paying $1,000 a time. And now that they are going to secondary school, say they should go to free. This is what we are talking. Their own people. I've spoken to a few of them. The 110 ministers that we've got now. When he was at Ghana, Gepa, when he was there, the amount of money that was being paid, if he comes to tell me that his children should go to school for free, I'll take.
So that's what you review.
I'll take a cane and whip him. I'll whip
now
him.
Now you're being extra.
I'll whip him.
You're going
if the elite in society, we are talking about you asked me a few years what was happening. When I went to school, I had a friend from a guy called Adade. He came from some farming village. When he was coming to school, I remember him very well. He came without sandals, but I had a scholarship. I was coming from Accra, coming from Radiant Way. He came from that school, and we had a scholarship. The system was taking care of them, those who are not able to afford. Now that we are in a situation where we have challenges, your children who went to Morning Star and we're paying $1,000 a time.
No, but I think
not you.
That's it.
Not you. I'm making a blanket statement. Yes. And you take them to Achimota, and then you say they should go for free. That is what we are talking about.
So that's what you're going to review.
We can free education is laudable. SHS is laudable. But we must have in our mind there are certain people who are capable.
So, Chairman, is that what Mahama is saying?
At the end of every summer term, they fly their children to London. They fly them to United States of America on holidays.
Okay, let's stick to
what
Mahama says.
Let me finish. If you are talking about equitable, if you are talking about equity, then you are not being equitable. So that poor person that you send to SHS, I hope at the end of the term you go and fly them to.
What are you talking about? The point is
let me finish. Because you are being let
me finish. Chairman, respectfully, let's talk about the issues. What exactly is Mahama trying to fix? Is he trying to say we will put in place a system that will enable children whose parents can afford it, pay? Is that what he means? Because we know from the very early days, NDC did not like this.
I would do that.
If
your father is capable of paying your fees, the state should not pay your children.
So that's what Mahama meant. Is that what you meant by reviewing it?
I believe so. Okay. So that money will save them, take care of the poor. Okay. I believe so.
Okay.
If your father is taking you to
thank you. So the next topic we're going to discuss is actually Mahama taking his flagbearer campaign.
Let's read a few messages here.
Northern region. But
Walanyo in Akwetia says John Mahama can't be trusted because the first time he said free SHS will be reversed, and today making a U-turn telling Ghanaians that free SHS will be reviewed. But what it means is that in the unlikely event that he wins 2020, free SHS policy will collapse completely. Okay, he believes in double pay salary than double track system of free SHS.
Let me read from this is Positive Change. Madina Zongo Junction says, my government will meet the press every 6 months. We are now in the 8th month. When is the president meeting the press again for questioning? Because Ghanaians have so many questions for him. This is the Medina gender lawyer Susu. And Jagos from Insawem says, so why is John Mahama and his NDC now promising Ghanaians with free SHS? High upon all the abusive words they used against this government when they introduced this policy, or they just want to come and destroy the policy, or what? I think Ghanaians will not even make a mistake and vote for them to come and destroy this policy. So they should concentrate their long stay in opposition and implement those free senior high school policy in opposition.
Okay. And Nee from Kaswa says, MPP, you don't know the thing. We are teaching you the thing. You are playing with the thing.
Really?
Now, a bag of cement is 32 Ghana cedis. In fact, where did we go wrong? All you know is to pay yourselves and 110 ministers with huge salaries for no work done. Mahama Beji Stier, no? Nananabre. Okay. That's an interesting message there. Another message from Filippo says, he's writing from Kwabre. He says, we are watching you live here inside, Master Kente's shop. He says here that President Nana down Akufo-Addo, no weapon formed against you shall prosper. Anyway, good morning. Okay, another message here.
This one from Promise. He says, is it the good people of Ghana who are calling for the review of free SHS? John Dramani Mahama is echoing citizens' concerns. Okay, he's saying it is the good people of Ghana who are calling for the review of the free SHS. John Mahama is re-echoing citizens' concerns. There's a difference between political decision and public policy. And Ruben says, why is the MPP always saying Mahama never support free SHS? Mahama started the progressive free SHS, so NPP should give us a break.
Okay, so now we're going to touch on the last story really briefly. Mahama has taken his campaign to the northern region. Really briefly, reading from the Independent newspaper, page 2. So I think since it's your party, coincidentally, we'll have to start with you on this one as well.
Yeah, and he said something. He's a coach here. Maybe you have something to say about the quote. He said you can use lies to deceit to gain. You can use lies and deceit to gain power, but you cannot use lies and deceit to run and sustain a government.
Yes. Amongst others, he spoke about the fuel prices and the likes. So,
well, I mean, we are in a season of the NDC of electing our various officers in the party. I've gone through mine, and I've got
congratulations.
Three belts. So I'm baptizing the making.
No, really big.
Yeah, so he's back on his campaign delegates. It's a delegates campaign. You need to meet the delegates to reassure them, and so far, I think he's doing what he needs to do. There are other candidates who are going around. This morning, a few of them are meeting us in the region. And we will listen to them. And at the end of the day, I've got one vote. Only one vote.
Okay.
And others too have got their votes. And we will decide.
You want to hint us on how that vote will go? Also considering the fact that Kojo Bonsu has also joined the race.
Kojo Bonsu. Look, let me advise Kojo Bonsu. Let me advise. He's my very good friend from football circles up to this stage. This country is a serious country. We must be serious. You see, Ghana is not cheap. And the way we are doing things in this country, sometimes we belittle this country. The fact that you have been a KMA mayor does not qualify you to say you want to be president of Ghana. Jesus Christ. Let's cry aloud. Let's be serious. The world is watching us. You know, it's my very good friend. When I see him, I advise him, go and sleep somewhere. Please. Please.
Okay.
Please. We must be serious in this country. Ghana first. We sit here and we every Tom, Dick, and Harry gets up. And he wants to be what?
But it's a democracy, so if someone feels the need, they should.
Democracy.
They have the freedom to do it.
You see, everybody has got the freedom to do everything that he wants. But your freedom stops at somebody's where his own begins from. And I cannot sit here where my freedom also starts for someone to come and mess up my freedom.
Please explain.
Please explain. If your ribs are not strong, you don't go for people to start hammering them, beating your ribs. You understand?
Yes.
Good.
Thank you.
So go and ask anybody to tell you if your ribs are not strong, you don't go and take punches at that point to break.
Thank you very much,
Mahama's ribs are
Chairman
strong.
Adekoka.
Thank
you very much, Chairman Adekoka.
He's my very good. I hope he's listening to me. His ribs are not strong.
Okay.
Thank you. Really briefly.
Well, that's extremely interesting. But, I mean, of course, that is an internal contest, so we'll leave them to it. I can assure them that we're taking notes. To be honest, I'm indifferent about this whole former President Mahama's quest to come back. One vein, I just want him to come so that the second, victory of President Akufo-Addo will be more resounding. That would put him basically into a terminal sort of retirement. The second thing is that it's almost as if we're going to have some kind of a pantomime show where we would have to, engage all the other people who are now trying to contest him and look at what the things that they've said, and basically even his track record, and giving an opportunity to actually dissect and bring him under close scrutiny. It's also something that I'm actually looking forward to. So I'm in two minds about it. But the truth of the matter is that I don't know exactly what he will be promising. He has had an opportunity as vice president. He told everybody, and he made it clear that as vice president, he was essentially given the reins of this country to manage. He became president. He has done it, whatever it is that he could have done. And the performance and the things that he did is there for everybody to see. So for me, it's basically an exercise. I call it an ego massaging exercise. You understand? And unfortunately, he's been able to drag a lot of his compatriots along for a personal, almost like an ego journey, because I don't see it. And if you listen to Bagman, Alabi, Ricketts Hagan, and all of those people who were even integral part of his government, and the kind of things that they are saying about the sort of governance that he actually superintended over, and his competence and attitude to work and all of those things, and all sorts of other things, I don't see how.
Okay,
Thank
you very much.
Thank you very much.
Just
10 seconds, Chairman.
We will not go there and try and suggest or recommend a candidate for them.
It's very interesting, you know. I think if you enter Ghana right now, if you land at Kotoka International Airport, you see an edifice which portrays how far Ghana has come.
Okay, thank you very much.
We do have a message.
You want to read a message?
Yes, one message from Michael Amin. He says, though there is economic challenges in the country, which is as the result of the reckless economic mess left behind by the Mahama-led government, but as a matter of fact, the future for Ghana looks very bright under the leadership of President Akufo-Addo because of the pragmatic economic policies initiated by him. So Ghanaians will not make the mistake to bring JDM and his nation workers NDC back to power because they will be disaster, blah, blah, blah. Okay, thank you.
Well, we're joined by the chairman of the Greater Accra Regional Branch of the National Democratic Congress, Joseph Kobina Adekoka, who says, you know, the former Kumasi mayor, the KMA mayor, should not even try contesting because his ribs are not strong.
I think it's a democracy. Anyone
and also,
should try.
Eric Amoako is there. He's part of the NPP communications team. In fact, he forms an integral part of the NPP communications team. Do stay tuned to Breakfast Daily. More coming up.